I never imagined my 35th birthday would be the day my marriage imploded in front of everyone I loved. But there I stood in our pristine living room, watching my husband of 12 years hand a velvet jewelry box to another woman. I'm Savannah, and until that moment, I thought I had it all figured out. The perfect house in the suburbs, the successful husband, the enviable life that made my Instagram followers swoon. Funny how quickly perfection can shatter. "Trevor, honey, what's that?" I asked, my voice steady despite the champagne glass trembling in my hand. The party chatter died instantly. My husband froze, the box suspended between him and Caroline, his work colleague, who'd shown up uninvited to my birthday gathering. Her perfectly manicured fingers were already reaching for it. "It's just a small token of appreciation," Trevor stammered, his face flushing, "for all her help with the Anderson account." My sister Simone stepped closer to me, her hand finding my shoulder. "On your wife's birthday?" she asked, her tone sharp enough to cut glass. Caroline opened the box, and there it was, the vintage sapphire necklace I'd pointed out to Trevor in the antique store last month. "It's gorgeous," she breathed, already lifting it from its velvet nest. "That's quite a token," my brother Riley commented from across the room, setting his drink down with a deliberate thud. I watched Caroline's triumphant smile, Trevor's guilty fidgeting, and the horrified expressions of our gathered friends and family. The room felt like it was spinning, but something inside me snapped into crystal clear focus. "Mom," I called out, my voice surprisingly calm, "would you mind getting that envelope from my purse, the one with the red tab?" My mother Ivy hurried to comply, confusion etched on her face. The silence in the room was deafening. "Since we're exchanging gifts," I continued, accepting the envelope from my mother, "I have something for you too, Trevor." He looked relieved, probably thinking I was about to save face and smooth things over, like I always did. I'd spent years being the perfect wife, making excuses for his late nights and business trips, cleaning up his messes. Not this time. I pulled out the document and held it out to him. "It's the deed to our house. Notice anything interesting about it?" Trevor took it, his hands shaking slightly. I watched as his eyes scanned the paper, then widened in recognition. "That's right," I said, addressing our audience as much as him. "The house is in my name only, always has been. My inheritance from Grandma went into the down payment, remember?" Caroline's hand dropped from the necklace. My father Mark stepped forward, his face thunderous. "Trevor, what the hell is going on here?" "Savannah, baby, let's talk about this privately," Trevor pleaded, reaching for my arm. I stepped back. "No need. I think everything's pretty clear now. You can keep the necklace, Caroline. But you should know, he promised me that same one last month." "I can explain," Trevor started, but Simone cut him off. "Explain what? How you're giving expensive jewelry to another woman at your wife's birthday party?" Her voice dripped with disgust. "You have until tomorrow evening to pack your things," I announced, amazed at how steady my voice remained. "I've already called a lawyer." The room erupted in chaos. My mother burst into tears, my father started shouting, and Kylie, my best friend, was already on her phone, probably calling her realtor husband for advice. "You can't do this," Trevor protested weakly. "Actually, I can, and I am." I turned to address our guests. "Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry the party's ending early, but I think we've had enough excitement for one evening." As people began filing out, offering hugs and whispered support, I caught Caroline trying to slip away. "Oh, and Caroline? That Anderson account you helped with? I have copies of all the paperwork. Might want to think about that before you wear that necklace to the office." Her face went pale, and she practically ran for the door. Later that night, after everyone had gone and Trevor had retreated to the guest room, Simone sat with me on the back porch. "How long have you known?" she asked softly. I watched the ice melt in my untouched birthday cocktail. "About the affair? 3 months? About the creative accounting on his business reports? 2 weeks. Sometimes the universe hands you exactly what you need, exactly when you need it." "And the house deed?" I smiled for the first time that evening. "Let's just say Grandma taught me more than how to make her famous apple pie. She always said to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst." "What happens now?" Simone asked. I took a deep breath of the cool night air. Now I stop being the perfect wife and start being me again, whatever that means. The morning after my birthday disaster, I woke up to 37 missed calls and what felt like the entire neighborhood watching our house. Trevor had already left, taking only a small suitcase and his guilty conscience with him. "You've started a war," Riley declared, barging into my kitchen without knocking. He was still wearing his running gear, sweat beading on his forehead. "Dad's furious." "Good morning to you, too," I muttered, clutching my coffee mug like a lifeline. "And since when does Dad take Trevor's side?" "Since Mom spent all night crying about how this will affect her garden club reputation." Riley grabbed an apple from my fruit bowl. "You know how he gets when Mom's upset." The doorbell rang before I could respond. Simone walked in, carrying breakfast pastries and her signature "we need to talk" expression. "I brought reinforcements," she announced, setting the box on my counter. "Also, you might want to check Facebook. Caroline's posted something interesting." I pulled out my phone, but Riley snatched it away. "Don't, it's not worth it." "Give it back," I demanded, reaching across the counter. "He's right," Simone interjected. "She's playing victim, claiming workplace harassment or something. It's ridiculous." The doorbell rang again. This time it was Kylie, her face flushed with anger. "You will not believe who I just ran into at Starbucks," she fumed, dropping her purse on my counter. "Trevor and Caroline looking very cozy. He's wearing the same clothes from last night." My stomach lurched. Simone immediately moved closer, her hand finding mine. "I took pictures," Kylie continued, pulling out her phone. "Just in case you need them for—" "Don't," Riley interrupted. "Savannah, you need to think carefully about your next move. The revenge thing? It felt good last night, I get it, but what?" I snapped. "I should just forgive and forget? Let him humiliate me in front of everyone and walk away?" "That's not what he's saying," Simone said softly. "But Riley's right about being careful. Trevor's already trying to spin this. I heard he told Dad you've been emotionally unavailable for months." I laughed bitterly. Emotionally unavailable? I was planning his surprise birthday party while he was buying jewelry for his girlfriend. The doorbell rang a third time. This time it was my parents. "Savannah Marie," my father boomed as he walked in. "What have you done?" "What have I done?" I stood up straighter. "Why don't you ask your precious son-in-law what he's done?" "Mark," my mother pleaded, "please don't." "No, Ivy, this needs to be addressed. Trevor called this morning. He's devastated. Says you ambushed him, humiliated him." "Oh my God," Kylie interrupted, shoving her phone in my father's face. "Is this what a devastated man looks like?" My father's face reddened as he looked at the photos of Trevor and Caroline. My mother gasped. "They're not even trying to hide it," Simone commented. "Classy." "That's—" My father stumbled over his words. "That's not—" "That's exactly what it looks like," I said quietly. "And that's not even the worst part. Want to know what I found in his office files?" Riley stepped forward. "Savannah, maybe we should—" "No, they should know. Everyone should know what their perfect son-in-law has been up to. Those business trips, the late nights. He's been cooking the books with Caroline's help. I have proof." The kitchen fell silent. My mother sank into a chair, her face pale. "How long?" my father asked, his voice different now, quieter. "Long enough to make me glad I kept the house in my name." I pulled out a folder from the kitchen drawer. "Here's everything I found. Bank statements, fake invoices, emails between them going back months." My father took the folder with trembling hands. As a retired accountant, he would understand exactly what he was looking at. "I'll kill him," he muttered after a few minutes of reading. "No, you won't," my mother said firmly, standing up. "Savannah, honey, I'm so sorry. We should have—" "It's okay, Mom," I said, feeling tears prick at my eyes for the first time since last night. "You couldn't have known." "What's your plan?" Riley asked, his earlier skepticism replaced with concern. "First, I meet with my lawyer this afternoon. Then—" I took a deep breath. "Then I start figuring out who I am without him." "You're my sister," Simone said fiercely. "That's who you are, and we've got your back." "All of us," my father added, closing the folder. "I'll make some calls. I know people who can help with the financial investigation." As my family rallied around me, I felt something shift inside. The hurt was still there, but underneath it was something stronger, something like hope. "One day at a time," Kylie said, pulling me into a hug. "And maybe change the locks?" For the first time in what felt like forever, I laughed. Really laughed. 3 days after changing the locks, I found myself sitting in a dimly lit coffee shop across from Harley, Trevor's former business partner. He'd reached out through LinkedIn, of all places, with a message that simply read, We should talk. I always knew Trevor would implode eventually, Harley said, stirring his black coffee. That's why I got out when I did. But I never expected it to be so public. Neither did I admitted, watching his face carefully. Why did you really want to meet Harley? He glanced around before pulling out a USB drive. Because I've been waiting for someone to finally see Trevor for who he really is, and because I have something you need to see. My phone buzzed. Another message from Trevor. I'd been ignoring them all week, each one alternating between desperate pleas and thinly veiled threats. Let me guess, Harley said, nodding at my phone. He's either saying he'll change or threatening to ruin you. Both, actually, sometimes in the same message. Classic Trevor. Harley pushed the USB drive across the table. This contains every transaction record from when we were partners, including the ones he tried to delete. Before I could respond, a familiar voice cut through the cafe. Well, isn't this cozy? Caroline stood at our table, designer handbag clutched like a shield. She looked different, harder somehow, than she had at my birthday party. Please, join us, I said, gesturing to an empty chair. I'm sure you have plenty to add to the conversation. You think you're so clever, she hissed, but sat down anyway. Do you have any idea what you've done? The board is asking questions. Clients are nervous. Sounds like a you problem, Harley commented dryly. Caroline's head snapped toward him. You're supposed to be gone. Trevor said you signed an NDA. I did, Harley smiled, about the company's legitimate business practices, but fraud wasn't covered in that agreement. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Simone. Dad's looking at those files. Says it's worse than we thought. Call me ASAP. You know what's interesting, Caroline? I leaned forward. I've been doing some digging. Those Anderson account numbers you helped Trevor with? They don't add up, and your signature is on every document. Her face paled slightly. You don't know what you're talking about. Actually, she does, Harley interjected. I kept copies of everything, including the original numbers, before you two started playing creative accountants. Caroline's composure cracked. He promised me it was safe, that no one would ever know. Trevor promises a lot of things, I said quietly, like fidelity, honesty, that sapphire necklace. You don't understand, she whispered, suddenly looking very young. I needed this job. He said if I helped him, he'd take care of you, Harley finished, like he took care of his last assistant, or the intern before that. I felt the floor shift beneath me. What? Oh, you didn't know? Caroline laughed bitterly. I'm not special. I'm just the latest in a long line of Trevor's projects. He finds young women who need something, a job, a promotion, financial help, and offers to be their savior. While skimming money from client accounts, Harley added. It's his pattern. My phone buzzed again. Riley this time. Just talk to Dad. You need to see these numbers. Trevor's been busy. How much? I asked Caroline. How much did he take? She looked at her hands. Enough to send us both to jail. Not both of you, Harley corrected. All three of you. I'm assuming you've seen the offshore account statements? Caroline's head snapped up. What offshore accounts? Harley pulled out his laptop. The ones Trevor opened in your name, and Savannah's, and mine, though he never got access to that one. Want to see? As Harley turned the screen toward us, Caroline's face went from pale to ashen. That's not... I never... Let me guess, I said, feeling oddly calm. He had you sign some papers a few months ago? Said they were routine documentation? She nodded slowly. Welcome to Trevor's world, Harley said grimly, where everyone's a potential fall guy. My phone buzzed one final time. Trevor. We need to talk. Now, you don't know what you're doing. I looked at Caroline, saw the same fear in her eyes that I'd felt for months. Then at Harley, who'd escaped Trevor's web years ago and lived to tell about it. Actually, I said, picking up my phone, I know exactly what I'm doing. I turned to Caroline. Want to help me do it? She stared at me for a long moment, then reached for her purse and pulled out a thick folder. Everything I have is in here. Bank statements, emails, recorded conversations. I started keeping records after I found out about the others. Smart girl? Harley nodded approvingly. As I took the folder, my hand steady despite everything, I realized this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about justice. The conference room at my lawyer's office felt too small for the weight of what we were about to do. Caroline sat beside me, nervously twisting her ring, the one Trevor had given her last Christmas. I realized with a bitter taste in my mouth. These records are extensive, Sarah, my lawyer, said as she spread the documents across the mahogany table. The offshore accounts alone will be enough to bury him, Harley finished, pointing to a specific transaction. Look at this one. He used Savannah's social security number without her knowledge. The door opened, and my father walked in with Riley. Both looked grim. The forensic accountant finished his preliminary review, my father announced, dropping another stack of papers on the table. It's worse than we thought. Trevor wasn't just stealing from clients, he was laundering money. For who? Sarah asked, reaching for the new documents. Before anyone could answer, my phone lit up with Trevor's face. I'd forgotten I never changed his contact photo, us laughing on our last vacation before everything fell apart. Answer it, Harley suggested. On speaker, let's hear what he has to say. I pressed the green button. Hello, Trevor. Baby, please, his voice crackled through the speaker. Whatever you think you're doing, stop. You don't understand the people involved. Oh, I understand plenty, I replied, watching Caroline's face grow paler. Like how you've been using my identity to open accounts, or how you've been grooming young employees for years. Silence on the other end. Then, who have you been talking to? Everyone, I said simply. Caroline's sitting right here, actually. Want to explain to her about the accounts in her name? Caroline. His voice turned sharp. What have you done? What I should have done months ago, she replied, her voice shaking but determined. I showed Savannah everything, Trevor. The recordings, the emails, the threats. You stupid bit. Careful, Riley cut in. You're on speaker and there are witnesses. Another silence. Who else is there? Your worst nightmare, Harley answered cheerfully. Hello, old friend? Harley, Trevor's voice cracked. This is impossible. You signed an NDA about legitimate business practices, Harley finished. But we both know that's not what we're dealing with here, don't we? The sound of something shattering came through the phone. You have no idea what you're getting into, Trevor hissed. These people, These people? Sarah interrupted, her pen poised over her legal pad. Would you care to elaborate on that, Mr. Baker? Who is this? Savannah, are you with a lawyer? I'm with several people who are very interested in your business practices, I replied, including Dad. Mark? Trevor's voice turned pleading. You have to understand. I was trying to build something, for the family, for Savannah. My father's face darkened. The only thing you built was a house of cards, and it's about to come down. Listen to me. Trevor's voice turned urgent. There's a safe in my office behind the Rothko print, the contents. They'll explain everything, but you can't turn those files over to anyone. People will get hurt. Caroline suddenly stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. The missing insurance payments, she whispered. The construction company that went bankrupt overnight. That wasn't just fraud, was it? Caroline, shut up, Trevor snapped. No, she shot back. Tell them what really happened to Michael from accounting when he threatened to go to the board. The room went deadly quiet. What happened to Michael? Sarah asked, her pen now racing across the paper. He had an accident, Caroline said quietly. Car brake failure. Trevor said it was tragic timing. You can't prove anything. Trevor's voice had turned cold. And if you try, you might find yourself having similar bad luck. Is that a threat? Sarah asked sharply. That's enough, I cut in, my heart pounding but my voice steady. Trevor, I'm going to hang up now. The next time you hear from me, it'll be through my lawyer. Savannah, wait. I ended the call. The room remained silent for several long moments. Well, Harley finally said, that was illuminating. We need to call the FBI, my father declared. This goes beyond financial fraud. Sarah was already dialing. I have a contact in the white-collar crimes division, given what we just heard. They'll want to talk to all of us, Caroline said, her voice small. I'll tell them everything. Riley moved to the window, peering through the blinds at the street below. We should be careful leaving here. If what he said about Michael is true, I'll call in some favors, Harley offered. Get some security in place. I looked at the scattered papers on the table, each one a piece of the puzzle I'd been too blind to see while living in it. I wanted revenge, I said quietly. I didn't expect to uncover a crime syndicate. Sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. my father said, squeezing my shoulder. But you're not alone in this. No, I agreed, watching Sarah speak rapidly into her phone. I'm not alone anymore. The FBI office was nothing like the movies. No dramatic interrogation rooms or wall-sized screens, just fluorescent lights and generic office furniture. Agent Lisa Martinez sat across from me, her dark eyes scanning the documents spread between us. Mrs. Baker. Just Savannah, I corrected. I'm not keeping his name. She nodded. Savannah. What you and Ms. Webb have brought us. This is significant, but we need you to understand the risks. You mean besides the fact that my husband apparently has connections to organized crime? We believe Trevor was a mid-level player. Another agent, Tom, interjected from his position by the window, moving money for some very dangerous people. The door opened, and Caroline was escorted in by a third agent. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Tell them what you told me, she said without preamble, about the safe. I straightened in my chair. Trevor mentioned a safe behind a painting in his office, said the contents would explain everything. We found it, Agent Martinez said. The contents were enlightening, but we also found this. She slid a photograph across the table. My hands shook as I picked it up. It was a picture of me, taken yesterday, getting coffee with Simone. We hadn't noticed anyone following us. He's having me watched? Not Trevor, Tom said grimly. His associates. They know you're talking to us. Caroline sank into a chair. This is my fault. If I hadn't helped him... Stop. I cut her off. You were manipulated just like I was. The only difference is you figured it out sooner. Agent Martinez leaned forward. We need to move you both to a safe location, today. What about my family? I asked. My sister, my parents? Already being contacted, Tom assured me. Your brother Riley is with federal marshals now. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The painting wasn't the only thing hiding secrets. Check the garden shed. That's not from Trevor, I said, showing Agent Martinez. He doesn't know about... I stopped, remembering something. The garden. Last spring, Trevor insisted on rebuilding the shed himself. Wouldn't let anyone help. Caroline's head snapped up. He did the same thing at the lake house. Said he needed a project. Agent Martinez was already on her phone. We need a team at both locations, now. What aren't you telling us? I demanded. The agents exchanged looks before Tom spoke. We believe Trevor was keeping physical evidence, insurance in case his partners turned on him. Like recordings? Caroline asked. Because he always had this little device in his pocket. Said it was a backup phone. A recorder, Agent Martinez confirmed. We found several in his office safe, along with some very interesting conversations. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Simone. FBI just picked me up. What the hell is going on? Before I could respond, the office door burst open. A senior agent rushed in, face tense. We found something in the shed. Multiple hard drives, offshore account numbers, and... He paused, looking at me apologetically. And what? I pressed. A gun, he finished, with filed-off serial numbers. Caroline made a small choking sound. The Michael situation, she whispered. Agent Martinez stood up. That's it. You're both going into protective custody right now. No arguments. Wait, I said, pulling out my own phone. Let me show you something first. I pulled up a video file. Trevor didn't know I had cameras installed in the garden. After I found the first suspicious bank statement, I got paranoid. The agents huddled around my phone, watching as the footage showed Trevor making late-night trips to the shed, carrying packages and folders. This is from the night before my birthday party, I explained, fast-forwarding. The last time I saw him go in there. This is excellent, Agent Martinez said. But it also means you're in more danger than we thought. If he realizes you have this footage... My phone lit up with Trevor's number. Answer it, Tom instructed, already setting up recording equipment. Keep him talking. I took a deep breath and pressed accept. Hello? The garden shed, Savannah? Trevor's voice was eerily calm. You always were too clever for your own good. I learned from the best, I replied, watching the agents trace the call. You taught me to always have a backup plan. Did I teach you what happens to people who betray me? No, I said, feeling a strange sense of calm. But you taught me what happens to people who trust you. I think I prefer being your enemy. Silence, then. You have no idea what you've done. Actually, I smiled, looking at the agents surrounding me. I know exactly what I've done. The question is, do you? The line went dead. Agent Martinez immediately sprang into action, barking orders into her radio. He's running, Tom announced, looking at his phone. Just cleared his bank accounts. Let him run, I said, standing up. The evidence isn't going anywhere, and neither am I. Caroline looked at me with something like admiration. You planned this all along, didn't you? The cameras, the records. Let's just say I learned to sleep with one eye open, I replied. Now, about that protective custody. The safe house was actually a modest apartment in a city 3 hours from home. 2 weeks had passed since Trevor's disappearance, and my family was scattered across different locations under federal protection. The only familiar face was Simone, who'd been placed with me after Dad's heart scare. Dad's out of the hospital, Simone announced, hanging up her burner phone. Mom says his blood pressure is stabilizing. I stared out the window at the unfamiliar skyline. This is my fault. If I hadn't pushed so hard. Don't, Simone cut me off. Dad's condition is stress-related, yes, but the stress came from learning his son-in-law is a criminal, not from you exposing him. A knock at the door made us both freeze. Agent Martinez's voice came through. Daily check-in. After the proper verification procedures, she entered with Caroline in tow. I hadn't seen her since we'd been separated into different safe houses. They found Trevor's laptop, Caroline said without preamble, in a storage unit registered to my name, one I didn't know existed. Agent Martinez set a file on the coffee table. The contents are concerning. He had detailed information on all of you. Family routines, financial records, potential pressure points. He was preparing to run, I realized, building leverage against everyone who might talk. Yes, Martinez confirmed, but he made a mistake. The laptop also contained evidence of every transaction he ever made for his employers. Simone leaned forward. So you can arrest him? We could, Martinez said carefully, if we could find him. My phone, the new secure one, buzzed with a message from Riley. Turn on the news, now. I grabbed the remote, and there it was. Trevor's face plastered across the screen alongside the word missing. Local businessman Trevor Baker's vehicle was found abandoned near the Canadian border, the reporter announced. Police are treating his disappearance as suspicious after signs of struggle were found at the scene. It's staged, Caroline said immediately. It has to be. We think so too, Martinez agreed, but his associates might not see it that way. What do you mean? Simone asked. They might think he's cooperating with us, and if they think that, they'll want to silence him, I finished, and anyone connected to him. Another knock, this one urgent. Agent Tom burst in. We need to move, now. Someone access the safe house registry. How? Martinez demanded, already pulling out her phone. Internal leak. Pack your essentials, 5 minutes max. As we scrambled to gather our things, my secure phone buzzed again. An unknown number. Don't answer it, Martinez warned. Wait, Caroline said, looking over my shoulder. That's not Trevor's pattern. He uses burner phones, but always with area codes from... It's Harley, I realized. This is how he contacted me before? Martinez nodded, starting a trace. Answer on speaker. Harley? They're coming. His voice was rushed, traffic sounds in the background. Trevor's partners. They think he flipped. They're cleaning house. We know, I said. We're moving now. No, you don't understand. The leak isn't just the safe house registry, it's everything. Client lists, witness locations, federal protocols. Martinez was already barking orders into her radio. Where are you? I asked Harley. Following a lead. Trevor's not running, Savannah. He's hunting. He's going to give them everyone involved to save himself. Including you? Including all of us. Listen, there's a file on his laptop. Password protected, labeled insurance. Get into it. How? Your anniversary date, he said. He always used it. Said no one would suspect something so obvious. The line went dead. We got a location, Tom announced. He's heading north. So is Trevor, Caroline added, looking at her phone. My friend at the bank just texted. He tried to access his secondary account from Montreal. Martinez made a quick decision. Change of plans. We're splitting up. Different locations, different routes. No, I said firmly. That's what they want, to isolate us, pick us off one by one. She's right, Simone agreed. We're stronger together. And we have something they don't know about, Caroline added. The insurance file. I pulled out my laptop, hands shaking slightly as I entered my anniversary date. The file opened, revealing hundreds of documents, photos, and videos. Oh my God, Caroline breathed, looking at the screen. He recorded everything. Every meeting, every threat, every deal. This isn't just insurance, Martinez said, scanning the files. This is a confession. And a death sentence if they find him, Tom added grimly. I looked at the faces around me. My sister, the woman my husband betrayed me with, the agents protecting us, all bound together by Trevor's web of lies. So we find him first, I said, before they do. Martinez nodded slowly. We'll need a plan. I have one, I replied, thinking of the garden shed cameras, the hidden recordings, all the times I'd been underestimated. And they'll never see it coming. The Montreal hotel lobby was exactly as Trevor described in his emails to Caroline, all gleaming marble and discreet luxury. I sat at the bar, wearing the sapphire necklace he'd given Caroline, knowing it would draw his attention. Target spotted. Agent Martinez's voice crackled through my hidden earpiece. Northwest entrance. I didn't turn around. Instead, I watched Trevor's reflection in the mirrored bar wall as he walked in, his confident stride faltering when he saw me. Of all the gin joints, I said as he slid onto the bar stool next to me. How's life as a fugitive? Savannah, he breathed, eyes fixed on the necklace. How did you get Caroline's necklace? I smiled, taking a sip of my martini. She gave it to me, along with everything else. His hand twitched toward his pocket, where he usually kept his recorder. You shouldn't be here. Actually, I'm exactly where I should be. The question is, why are you? You don't understand what's happening, he said, ordering a scotch with a shaking hand. Don't I? The insurance file was very educational. He froze, glass halfway to his lips. You got into the file? Our anniversary date? Really, Trevor? For someone so calculating, you can be incredibly sentimental. Target 2 entering through East Door, Martinez warned in my ear. I watched in the mirror as a large man in an expensive suit walked in, scanning the room. Trevor's reflection went pale. We need to go, he said urgently, grabbing my arm. Now. Let go of me, I said loudly enough for nearby patrons to turn. Trevor immediately released me, forcing a smile. Please, he whispered. These people, they'll kill us both. Like Michael from accounting? I asked. Or should I say, like you killed Michael from accounting? I never... He stopped as another suited man entered from the south entrance. Savannah, please, I can explain everything. Target 3 in position, Martinez confirmed. We're ready. I reached for my purse, pulling out a USB drive. You mean explain this? Every transaction, every meeting, every murder, it's all here. Plus a few recordings of my own. What recordings? Remember last month when you met those men in our garden shed? Did you really think I wouldn't notice the late-night visits, the mysterious packages? His face contorted. You were spying on me? I learned from the best, I replied, standing up. Oh, and those offshore accounts in my name? I transferred everything back, every penny. The FBI is tracking it all now. You stupid... He grabbed for the USB drive, but I stepped back. Federal agents! Martinez's voice boomed through the lobby. Everyone down. The chaos was immediate. Hotel guests screamed and dropped to the floor as agents swarmed in from every entrance. The suited men reached for weapons but were quickly surrounded. Trevor tried to run, but Riley, who'd been posing as a bellhop, tackled him from behind. That's for Dad's heart attack, my brother growled, pinning Trevor's arms. Agent Martinez approached with handcuffs. Trevor Baker, you're under arrest for fraud, money laundering, conspiracy to commit murder. You can't prove anything, Trevor spat. Actually, Caroline said, emerging from her position at a nearby table. We can prove everything. Those recordings you kept? I made copies. All those meetings where you thought I was just your loyal assistant, I was building a case. You set me up, he said, looking between us. All of you. No, Trevor, I corrected him. You set yourself up. We just made sure you couldn't run from it. As the agents led him away, he turned back to me. I did it all for us, for our future. Our future died the moment you decided to betray everything we built, I replied. But hey, look on the bright side. Orange might be your color. The lobby slowly cleared, guests being interviewed by agents. the suited men taken away in separate vehicles. Simone appeared from her surveillance position at the hotel restaurant. Dad's watching the live feed from the safe house, she told me. Says his blood pressure's never been better. Agent Martinez approached, looking satisfied. We got them all. The entire network. Your evidence and testimony will put them away for decades. And Trevor? Caroline asked. His partners aren't happy he kept records, Martinez said. He'll be safer in federal custody than anywhere else. I reached up and unclasped the sapphire necklace, holding it out to Caroline. I believe this belongs to you. She shook her head. Keep it. Consider it payment for opening my eyes. Speaking of payment, Riley interjected, the FBI found Trevor's real estate holdings. Turns out my sister owns a lake house she didn't know about. I laughed. A real free laugh. Anyone up for a vacation when this is all over? First, Martinez said, we need your official statements, all of you. I looked at my unlikely team, my siblings, my husband's mistress turned ally, the agents who'd protected us, and felt something settle in my chest. Let's finish this, I said. I've got a life to rebuild. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as I walked out into the bright afternoon sun. The verdict had taken less than 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Miss Baker, a reporter called out, how does it feel knowing your testimony helped bring down one of the largest money laundering operations in the state? Before I could answer, Simone stepped in front of me. It's Miss Clark now. She's taken back her maiden name. My phone buzzed. A message from Caroline. Just landed in Seattle. New job starts Monday. Thank you for everything. Savannah. My father called from the courthouse entrance, where he stood with my mother and Riley. The U.S. attorney wants to speak with you. As I turned to go back inside, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. Savannah, wait. Trevor's mother pushed through the reporters, her face tear-stained. Please, he's still your husband. You can ask for leniency. Margaret, my mother interrupted, stepping forward. Your son orchestrated fraud, laundered money for criminals, and was involved in a murder. The time for leniency is long past. He made mistakes. Mistakes? Riley scoffed. He tried to frame his own wife for his crimes. He put our entire family in danger. I trusted him, I said quietly, making Margaret fall silent. We all did. That was our mistake. Inside the courthouse, Agent Martinez waited with the U.S. attorney and Harley, who'd just finished his own testimony. The task force wants to thank you, the U.S. attorney said. Your evidence didn't just stop Trevor. It helped us uncover corruption in 3 state governments. I didn't do it alone, I replied, glancing at Harley. A lot of people risked everything to expose the truth. Speaking of truth, Martinez added, Trevor's partners are all pleading guilty. No one's coming after you or your family anymore. My father pulled out an envelope, which means we can finally do this. He handed it to me. The deed to the lake house, transferred fully into your name. No traces of Trevor left. And this, Harley said, offering another envelope. My company's buying out Trevor's share of our old business. You're entitled to half, as his wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife. I opened it, saw the number, and nearly dropped the envelope. This is too much. It's exactly what you deserve, Simone insisted, for everything you've been through. Besides, Riley added with a grin, someone needs to maintain that lake house. My mother touched my arm. Have you decided what you're going to do with it? I nodded. I'm turning it into a retreat center for women leaving difficult situations. Kylie's already agreed to help run it. Perfect use for a fresh start. Martinez smiled. Speaking of which, she pulled out a business card. The FBI's Forensic Accounting Division is always looking for people with your attention to detail. Are you offering me a job? Consider it a thank you for helping us close our biggest case this year. The courthouse doors opened again, and I watched as officers led Trevor toward the prisoner transport vehicle. He looked smaller somehow, his expensive suit replaced with prison orange. Any last words for him? Riley asked. I shook my head. I've said everything I needed to say in my testimony. The rest is just noise. That's my girl, my father said proudly. My phone buzzed again, a message from Kylie. First retreat center guest arrived. She reminds me of you 6 months ago, scared but strong. Looking around at my support system, family, friends, even former enemies turned allies, I felt the last weight lift from my shoulders. You know what this calls for? Simone announced. A celebration, not of Trevor's conviction, but of you, of survival, of starting over. Count me in, Harley said. First round's on me. Before we go, Martinez interjected. One last thing. She handed me a final envelope. The sapphire necklace sold at auction. As seized property, the proceeds go to victim restitution. In this case, that's you. I don't want anything connected to him. I started to protest. Take it, my mother advised. Use it for the retreat center. Turn his attempt to buy silence into something that helps people speak up. I opened the envelope and smiled. First thing we're installing is a top-notch security system. That's assuming Riley doesn't volunteer to be your full-time security guard, Simone teased. Hey, someone has to keep an eye on my little sister, Riley protested, even if she did prove she can take care of herself. As we walked out into the sunshine together, I realized something. My birthday wish had come true, just not in the way I'd expected. I'd wished for clarity, for truth, for strength. I got all three, and a whole new life in the bargain. So, Simone linked her arm through mine. Ready for your next chapter? I looked back at the courthouse one last time, then forward at the path ahead. More than ready, I said. Let's go write it.